Cheers. Happy New Year. And let's get right into the video, which is about coffee, the second most traded commodity on planet Earth. And what the heck does this have to do with concealed carry, self-protection? We'll try to dovetail them together, but I want to talk to you about something near and dear to me, something fun, and that is coffee. Today I've got on one of our shirts from Ignis Lux Coffee, Pour Yourself Into Love. And I'm going to dig right in. I just want to share some facts and some interesting stuff about coffee that maybe you don't know about. Check this out. This is some green, uncooked, unroasted coffee beans. And the interesting thing is, coffee beans are not beans at all. Many of us know this, but some of us don't. It's actually the seed or the pit of a cherry from the coffee tree, the coffee cherries. That's what they're called when they're still on the tree, a cherry. And they are rock hard. If you try to bite on that, you'd probably shatter your tooth. Animals don't really eat this. Bugs don't eat it. It is like gravel in this form as a dried pit, a dried seed. So what do we got to do? We've got to cook it. Now in front of me, I've got 4 of our roasts, and I'm going to show you starting with the lightest. This is what this looks like after about 8-10 minutes in a roaster at hundreds of degrees. And roasting is just cooking. It's just like your popcorn maker you used to put on the shelf. Now, nowadays, fancy people like light roast coffee. I don't prefer it. And there's a couple reasons they like it. People say that lighter roasted coffees allows you to taste the notes of where the coffee's grown. Yeah, big deal. If you're into that, cool. Coffee's kind of like wine or chocolate or even tomatoes, right? If you go to a couple gardens in town where you live and take the same tomato seed and plant it at your mom's house and one at your sister's and one at your aunt's and one at your house, you will get different tasting tomatoes based on sunlight, the soil, the water, all kinds of stuff. And coffee has that. So when you roast it to death, dark roasts, you cook the flavors out that Mother Earth put into the coffee. So if you're into that, you're going to want a lighter roast. Also, people say that lighter roasted coffees have a higher caffeine content. Now, there is some truth to that, but if you talk to food scientists, they will say that it's really negligible and actually hard to even measure. And the reason for that is as that product is grown, different coffee trees, different places in the world, it's a natural product, right? So it's going to vary naturally from harvest to harvest. So here's a light. You go a little bit darker and you get into the medium, and these look very similar. What you'll notice as you look at these is this one has got a little bit more caramely color. This is where a lot of folks are going to use this for espresso. And we erroneously think that you need that super dark, danky, dank, oily stuff for espresso. Nope. Medium's kind of where you want to be. This is where if I was going to suggest a coffee to you and you're not a coffee snob, which I'm not either, I'd start with a good medium. You get some of those caramely flavors that don't exist here in the light. This is more grassy. Yeah. But if people like it, you like it. Now we can go up from that medium to a true dark roast. And now we've got studio lighting in here, so some of this stuff might not look exactly as it does in person coming through on the camera, but these two are going to be my favorite. Now, some people, when they go, that's not a dark roast, a dark roast ought to look like this. You see how shiny that is? So why is that a problem? Well, it's not a problem per se, as much as what's happening when we take coffee to this extra dark. And let's compare dark, extra dark. No shiny, shiny. What happens is, just like cooking meat, when you put a steak on the grill or a burger in the pan, we start to express moisture out of it. And that's what's happening here. The moisture that's contained in these hard seeds gets cooked out. Why is that a bad thing? Well, it's not if that's what you like. You're tasting a lot more carbon, just like the char on a steak or the char on a burger, flame broiled goodness. You're cooking it until you're tasting carbon. But when we get it to this point, it doesn't last very long. That oil starts to turn rancid, just like cooking oil on the counter. When you cook the beans, and I say cook, I'm referring to roasting. When you roast them this long where they look like this, they don't last long in the bag. In addition, if you're using a grinder at home, and I always suggest buying whole beans. Get yourself a decent burr grinder, not a blade style grinder, and the reason for that I'll discuss in a second. But when you grind these up and put them through your coffee machine, all of this oil, just like if you took baby oil and put it on a rag and smeared it on things, it coats things and it sticks to it, and it eventually will gum stuff up, makes it hard to clean, and it gets into you. I prefer a roast like the dark or the medium, where we're not expressing all those oils, or my favorite is a blend. This is our hot rod blend, and you see that it is a mix of the medium and darker beans. You will find a couple of the farther dark, but not that super crazy oily stuff in the hot rod blend. By the way, we named this hot rod blend, let me grab a bag just because it's fun to talk about, for Bennett's father. Bennett's dad was a mechanic, and there's a cool story. I love telling this story. He was in to Chevys. He was a Chevy mechanic, and a really dang good one. And he wanted the interior of a Malibu, but he wanted the drivetrain of a Chevelle. It was easier for him to rebuild the drivetrain of a Malibu and have the Malibu interior than it was to buy a Chevelle and swap the interior out. So what's the dude do? He goes and buys a brand new Chevy Malibu, drags it home, and yeah, it was red, rips the engine out, rips the trans out, and puts a big old motor into it and gets her all beefed up, but has that sweet Malibu interior. He's no longer with us, but the dude loved hot rods and he loves coffee. So Kanan came up with this sweet label to make sure that we remember Bob every day when we open up our bag of coffee. So that's the hot rod blend. Badass car and badass blend of beans. Now, I said I'd talk a little bit about grinders. Why do we want to buy coffee that is whole bean? Like anything, if you're trying to get your money's worth and enjoy it, so I told you I'm bringing this full circle to CarryTrainer. First of all, I like coffee because it's fun. I like cooking. I like coffee because it's something, most of us probably like a beer or a cocktail. My mom doesn't, but I can sit with my mom and enjoy a cup of coffee in the same way that you and I maybe could share a beer. Not everybody likes coffee, but it's a beverage that you can enjoy with most anybody at most any time, right? For most of us, if it was 6 o'clock in the morning and we were cracking a bottle of beer or a martini, you'd have a problem, right? But coffee, you can have it, and it's a thing that brings us together. It's a thing that you can gift, right? I can give this to you. I can share it. I can put some in the cooler and take it out onto the dock fishing, or into the thermos rather. It's a beverage that billions of people drink every day, and it's this thing that's collectively something that conjures these beautiful images. My shirt says pour yourself into love. The whole idea behind the CarryTrainer brand is not just these things, right? It's not just this, which this is cool. So is this, my 2 daily carry pieces. I love this stuff, but I also do those things so that I can have relationships like this, where we get to share and talk and laugh and joke and commiserate and be together and do all the stuff that we do. Coffee is a centerpiece for so many of us. Some people say, well, I've never touched this stuff. Cool, man, you don't have to. Now, there's some health benefits to coffee that have been looked at over and over and over again. One thing that we know, when we take coffee to this type of roast, we've cooked out all that good stuff. When we're back in this area or this area, we've got a lot of those good things. And you can go read about that. You don't really get it when it's in this state, because you can't get it out of there. Like I said, you'll break your teeth. Or that blend. We enjoy the heck out of it. The grinder that you want, get a burr grinder. What the burr grinder is going to do is make the ground bits the same size. Thus, when the coffee is extracted, depending on how you make it, I prefer a pour over. Chemex is a great product, made in the USA since like the 1940s. Cool product. CHEMEX. I get zero to tell you about that. A nice French press. Stanley makes a cool one. That's insulated stainless steel, or Bodum, B-O-D-U-M. I get 0 from any of these people. They don't know who I am. Of course, a Mr. Coffee or something like that works fine. Why I don't love those types of coffee makers is they are full of plastic. And when we heat stuff up like water, run it through plastic, and then ingest it, many of us are now aware, based on all kinds of science, that that plastic gets into our body and it's not good for us. So the Chemex or something like that made of glass doesn't have that plastic present. So I personally want to limit it. Why? Because my overarching goal is to live a long, full life. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation. Ignis Lux Coffee is our brand. It's not something that we buy and just repackage to sell you. The stuff that comes in here comes to us like this in crates, and me and Bennett roast it and package it. Kanan develops all these labels, and we package it up and ship it to you. You'll notice this one has a date on it of 1/5/26. We try to get this stuff to your door within days of roasting. As soon as coffee is cooked, just like any food, just like any product that you take off of the grill or out of the oven, it begins declining. The sooner you get it, the better. Next time you're at the grocery store, pick up a bag of coffee off the shelf and look, and you will find stuff that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months old. And guess what? They're still charging you $15, $20 for a bag of it. I want it to you fresh. I want it delicious, and I want you to know who's making it. Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Ignis Lux is our brand, and it's our soul. This is the stuff that we're doing for fun as well. We own Gunfighter Gun Oil, if you guys are not aware of that. Made in the USA. High quality synthetic lubricants. Yes, you can buy them on Amazon, but you can also buy them right off of gunfightergunoil.com. Hope to see you guys out at a class, CarryTrainer.com. In 2026, we are going to be in Florida, Tennessee, Las Vegas, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Illinois, Wisconsin, and other places. And if you own a range somewhere, or we'll be in Washington State as well. If you own a range somewhere, from a short pistol range to a long rifle range, and you want to host a class, shoot me a message to training@CarryTrainer.com. Say, hey man, I'm here. I'd love to have you come out and do a class, and we'll start that dialogue and we'll get it going. If you are going to be at SHOT Show this year, 2026, come find me at the Supervel booth. Supervel is super awesome. They're my people. We love them. We support them. And I'd love to be able to shake your hand and talk more about that product with you in person. So if you're at SHOT Show 2026 or you know somebody that's going, shoot me a message. I'll make sure you guys get the booth numbers. Peace out. Be well. Don't be dickheads. And get you some Ignis Lux Coffee.